We need to talk about Islam. We do. And I'm not going to fall for this, oh, you're a white nationalist. No, and you'll understand when I explain. It's not that. It's that there's a time for Christians to turn the other cheek, and then there is a time for Christians that need to speak up. Had back, let's say, during King James era or before that, when people's faith was strong, because right now we have a lot of weak Christians, but back then there was a ton of different denominations that were strong in their Christianity. Going back to the Crusades, if those people would have just turned the other cheek, they would have been slaughtered by Islam. They were in many cases. Do you want to know where the Muslim Brotherhood began? It began in Egypt. They took it over and forced conversion. It was all Christian. They do this everywhere they go because it's part of what the Quran calls for. So, although I would never say advocate for violence, of course not. People need to be aware of this because the media and people like to say that, oh, that's the radical Islam. No, it's not. There's your Islam that maybe they say that they follow the Quran, but they're lackadaisic about it. You could say they're moderates, but the Quran itself is radical. It calls for the beheading of infidels. Christians are considered infidels, anybody who is not a Muslim. So it's a forced conversion. And what's going on in the UK and Europe, they have a real mess on their hands because they've had open borders for far longer than we because they wanted to be so diverse. This is why I've said for a while, you don't want to be so diverse that you accept everything. I mean, yes, you have to accept some things, but you need to be aware because they literally have taken over the Christian churches in Europe. And they did this to Europe before, but it's happening again. And I think Islam now is the #1 religion there. That's who's controlling your speech. That's why Barack Obama was elected. That's why when I heard Barack Obama speak at Kerry's convention, this was back when Bush Jr. was running for his second term, and he was running against John Kerry. And the first time I heard Barack Obama was when he spoke at his convention, and I said, oh man, he's such a good speaker. I said, the next presidential election he's going to run, he's going to win, but he's a bullshitter. And I even went as far as to say it's like he'll be like an antichrist. Well, not far off, okay? He wasn't even born in this country, so he should have never been allowed. And the media will still protect him to this day. But you know who was calling him out all along? Donald Trump. About that birth certificate. But he was part of the Muslim Brotherhood. That's why Michelle Obama talked about we have to talk about fundamentally changing America. Nope. But again, this is why 9/11 happened. So you have a lot of people right now that are trying to, they're blaming the Jews. That's why these people that are so, do you know most of the Palestinian territory is Muslim, is Islam? It is. So all those people that carry on and march with the terrorist organization Hamas, they want you to feel bad for them, and they are not the right people to feel bad for. And there are some things that we cannot just turn the other cheek because these people literally behead people. They don't accept you. Even if you do convert, you're still seen as low on the totem pole. But you must convert. This is why there's so many Christians being beheaded around the world. I listened to this man, He's a good one, Raymond, about this. And he said, we as Christians are so weak that now it's just like we accept everything. Yeah, that's what they did in Europe, in the UK. And they're in a world of hurt and mess right now. I don't know what they're going to do, because this is Islam. This is what they do. It's in their charter. It's in the Quran. They even it's even that it's okay for them, based on the Quran, to lie, to even become fake Christians, to do whatever they have to do, because it's about defeating the infidels, which is the Christians and the Jews. And they will play like they're Christian, and that they walk beside you, and that we're all one, but we all believe in a creator, so it doesn't matter. Oh yes, it does when it comes to them. It very much does. There's a reason many people were not happy with Vatican II. It's because it changed things to where we're to accept our brothers and sisters of Islam. And it's not that you have to be rude to them. It's just we can't accept it. There's a point where Christians have to say no. And then Christians know this, which is why the Vatican lost a lot of respect. Because this is what the Pope has been doing. Yes, does Islam recognize Jesus? Yes, they do, as a prophet. But believe me, it doesn't, it is a radical religion. And this was going back to 2011. Islam is regarded as the biggest threat to Europe for many Europeans. That was 2011. A mix of immigration, economic woes, the threat of Islamic extremists. It's not extremists. That's what the Quran is about. And the rise of the far right has swirled into the perfect storm of problems in Europe. The media they're so grotesque, okay? Because there's a point where you cannot accept the fact that these people literally say to lie to Christians, to become Christians, why do you think Ilhan Omar there? That woman should be deported. I've never seen a more hateful American, yet she's a representative. Or Rashida Tlaib, and all of these people march with the Palestinians, and that's because the majority of Palestinians are Islam. And Americans better realize this, because they're here. And the young ones are even more radical than their fathers were. So we have a big problem going on. It's happened before in history. They've taken over territory, and they force conversion. It's always what they do. There's no a way around it. And these things need to be said. And they like to try to use that you're Islamophobic. Nope, I'm not playing that political game bullshit anymore. The Quran is very, very clear about what they do and how they can lie, because it's in the name of Muhammad or their God or Allah. So it's okay for them to do anything they have to force conversion or behead. And there's very few people that are talking about this, because people are too afraid and they don't want to cause extremism. Well, there's no reason to cause extremism here, but people should speak up and say that we need to be aware of this problem. Literally in Minnesota, and it never should have been allowed, but they got enough Muslims there, Islam, that have the siren for the prayer to call that goes off twice a day. And it doesn't mean everybody has to do it, but this is how they infiltrate. They infiltrate into your schools, into your government, into everything, twist everything. And they're using the Socialist Party and the Marxist Party, and they are doing it because it is part of their religion that they must do it. Because they see themselves as superior over every other religion, so they are allowed to lie, deceive, and they are violent once they get enough power. I'm not saying this to scare people. I'm saying this so that people are aware that we do not want what's happening in Europe to be going on here. These are the people that are controlling social media and media.